the department's legal counsel.
It's not characterization. It's international law. It's listed. A blockade is an act of war. We've now engaged in the United States, and the United States and Iranian forces are trading fire as they continue to launch missiles, drones, small boat stacks. President Trump himself says the ceasefire is on life support, and he repeatedly threatens to renew U.S. military strikes. And to be clear, no one is disputing the valor and professionalism of our military. But the civilian leaders are abdicating their responsibility to craft a clear strategy, and service members and the American people are the ones who will suffer under this leadership vacuum. Admiral Cooper, before Operation Epic Fury began, what desired end state for the operation were you given by your civilian leadership?
Senator, I was given crystal clear guidance. Our military mission was to degrade Iran's ability to project power on its neighbors and U.S. interests. It included 3 specific objectives: degrade Iranian ballistic missiles and their defense industrial base, degrade their drones in the defense industrial base, degrade their Navy in the defense industrial base. All of those were achieved, as I've discussed.
America First Voice is back with another hard-hitting reaction. Today we're reacting to this Senate Armed Services Committee hearing where Senator Tammy Duckworth, Democrat Illinois, aggressively questions Admiral Brad Cooper about the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports and whether hostilities with Iran have truly ended. Let me tell you, patriots, this hearing perfectly illustrates the dangerous weakness and legal hair-splitting of the left when it comes to confronting our enemies. If you believe America must project strength, enforce maximum pressure on the Iranian regime, and never apologize for defending our interests and allies, smash that like button right now and subscribe. Let's dive in. Senator Duckworth presses the Admiral on President Trump's letter stating hostilities have ended, yet highlights the ongoing blockade of Iranian ports. She repeatedly claims that under international law, a blockade is an act of war, trying to trap the Admiral into admitting we're still in active hostilities. The Admiral responds carefully, noting the operation achieved its objectives, degrading Iran's missile, drone, and naval capabilities, and that decisions on timelines and end states are made by civilian leadership. Here's my unfiltered take as a right-wing patriot and constitutional conservative.
To see exactly how it works.
Thank you, Admiral.
Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Admiral Cooper, the Senate received a letter from President Trump on Friday, May 1st, stating that hostilities with Iran have ended, and you just stated here that we are no longer operating under Operation Urgent Fury. Would you say that we are still engaged in hostilities with Iran, or have they ended?
Consistent with the President's letter, Epic Fury is complete. We are operating under international armed conflict rules in the implementation of the blockade.
So are we engaged in hostilities with Iran, yes or no?
We are not. We're in a ceasefire.
The Strait of Hormuz remains blocked, right? You're engaged in a blockade, are you not?
The blockade is against Iranian ports, commerce going in and coming out. It is the last thing we would want to do is blockade the Strait of Hormuz. And as we've seen in the last week, there have been instances of ships coming in and out, including our own.
But under international law, a blockade is an act of war. So if you're actively blockading Iran, then you are engaged in we are currently in an act of war with Iran under international law. That a blockade is one of the definitions of an act of war under international law.
Consistent with the direction we've been given, those characterizations are best done through the department's legal counsel.
It's not characterization. It's international law. It's listed. A blockade is an act of war. We've now engaged in the United States, and the United States and Iranian forces are trading fire as they continue to launch missiles, drones, small boat stacks. President Trump himself says the ceasefire is on life support, and he repeatedly threatens to renew U.S. military strikes. And to be clear, no one is disputing the valor and professionalism of our military. But the civilian leaders are abdicating their responsibility to craft a clear strategy, and service members and the American people are the ones who will suffer under this leadership vacuum. Admiral Cooper, before Operation Epic Fury began, what desired end state for the operation were you given by your civilian leadership?
Senator, I was given crystal clear guidance. Our military mission was to degrade Iran's ability to project power on its neighbors and U.S. interests. It included 3 specific objectives: degrade Iranian ballistic missiles and their defense industrial base, degrade their drones in the defense industrial base, degrade their Navy in the defense industrial base. All of those were achieved, as I've discussed.
And because they were achieved, that's why the operation ended, or did the operation end because the president said, let's end operation?
Operations commencing and ending are made by our civilian leadership, and not a military decision.
Okay, well, that civilian leadership, President Trump has provided many possible end states in only 2 months, including in just 2 months, he said unconditional surrender and regime change in Iran, which have not happened. He's talked about, okay, operations will end when there's destruction of Iranian nuclear sites, allegedly already accomplished last summer under Operation Midnight Hammer. He has also said that Iran will never have nuclear weapons, which cannot be accomplished with only a bombing campaign. He said that his goal is to destroy the Iranian military forces and infrastructure completely, which the intelligence community assesses has not happened. And now, he said that it's a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which, as a reminder, was open before the war began. So if we don't know what we're fighting for, we certainly don't know how long we'll be fighting. Admiral Cooper, what have you been given? Have you been given any timeline for how long our forces will be in the Strait of Hormuz or near Iran or blockading Iran, whether by a timeline or a condition, an end state, for how long you'll be blockading Iran?
Senator, I think it's important from a military perspective that my advice related to options be provided to both the Secretary and the President. We've done that. The decisions on timeline and execution are up to our civilian leadership.
Okay. So you mentioned the Secretary of Defense, who only talks tactics, and a president who changes his strategy on social media multiple times a day. This is who's giving you the orders. Secretary Hegseth has touted the destruction of tens of thousands of targets across Iran. He said that Iran's air defenses are flattened, his words, and its industrial base overwhelmingly destroyed, and claims that Iran's Navy is at the bottom of the sea. Every metric that the Secretary offers is one of destruction, and destruction alone is not an end state, especially not with new public reporting that U.S. intelligence officials believe Iran has operational access to most of its missile capacity, and that Iran is clearly still capable of controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Americans are not safer, our service members are at risk, prices at home are higher, and Iran has more control over the Strait and global economy than it did before this whole thing started. The American people, our service members, deserve clear answers. What does done with the war look like, and how do we get there? We have no strategy. As we saw in Afghanistan, if you don't have a sound strategy, you keep doing tactics forever. This is not your fault, but this is where we are. And Admiral Cooper, have you been asked for your advice, and under what conditions would you advise deploying ground troops for any purpose in Iran?
Senator, I think it would be inappropriate to talk about any contingency planning in this particular forum. It's my obligation as a combatant commander to provide a broad range of options through the Secretary and to the President.
Can you answer that question for me in the skiff at a later time?
I'd be more than happy to talk about anything classified.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Kelly.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry.
Senator Duckworth's performance is typical Democrat weakness and defeatism dressed up as concern. Instead of celebrating the successful degradation of Iran's military capabilities and supporting strong action to prevent a nuclear Iran, she's nitpicking legal definitions and trying to undermine the Trump administration's decisive strategy. A blockade of Iranian ports to stop their aggression, funding of terrorism, and nuclear ambitions is not reckless. It's responsible leadership. As a patriot, I fully support President Trump's maximum pressure campaign on the Iranian regime. For decades, Iran has attacked U.S. forces, funded proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas, threatened Israel, and raced toward nuclear weapons. Weak policies under previous administrations only emboldened them. President Trump's approach, striking hard when necessary, enforcing blockades, and making clear that Iran will never have nuclear weapons, is exactly what's needed. Peace through strength works. The Admiral correctly notes that military objectives were met. Degrading their ballistic missiles, drones, and Navy sends a powerful message. Democrats like Duckworth want to tie our hands with endless legal debates and international law lectures while Iran continues to threaten global shipping, attack our allies, and destabilize the region. A blockade preventing the IRGC from arming itself or exporting terror is smart power, not an escalation they pretend it is. Deeper opinion as a right-wing patriot. Iran is the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. Their regime chants death to America and death to Israel. They attack shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, which carries a huge portion of global oil. Allowing them to continue unchecked is suicidal. The Trump administration is finally restoring deterrence after years of appeasement and pallets of cash under Obama/Biden. We must maintain maximum pressure, sanctions, naval presence, support for Israel, and targeted actions against Iran's nuclear and terrorist infrastructure. No more JCPOA-style giveaways. No more ignoring their proxies. America First foreign policy means putting our security and our allies first, not endless negotiations that only buy Iran time. This hearing reveals the Democrat mindset, more concerned with optics, international law technicalities, and criticizing Trump than actually confronting evil regimes. Admiral Cooper and our military deserve clear support, not political second-guessing. Patriots, stand strong behind President Trump's tough stance on Iran. Support maximum pressure until Iran abandons its nuclear program, stops funding terrorism, and ends its aggression. Our military must remain the strongest in the world, ready to deter and defeat any threat. If this hearing fired you up like it did me, comment below. Should the U.S. maintain strong pressure and blockades on Iran until they surrender their nuclear ambitions? Do you support Trump's maximum pressure policy? What's your message to the Iranian regime? Smash like if you stand with strong America First leadership against Iran. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share with every patriot. We need secure borders, energy dominance, a strong military, and an unapologetic America First foreign policy. Stay vigilant. Stay strong. God bless our troops and Admiral Cooper. God bless President Trump. God bless Israel. And God bless the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth.